Chapter 3. Home. After Sarah waved goodbye as Chuck pulled out of the driveway, she stood for a moment longer than necessary, watching. Not out of worry, but habit. Marriage had taught her that departures deserved attention just as much as arrivals. Inside, she checked on Sissy. A hand to the forehead. Still warm, but better. "You're staying home today," Sarah said gently. "Rest." Sissy didn't argue. Sarah moved down the hall to her in-home salon to prepare for her first client. The room smelled faintly of lavender and hairspray, a place where women came to look better, but often left lighter. When Marissa settled into the chair, the familiar rhythm began. Conversation first, hair second. Cosmetology, Sarah often joked, was part beauty, part counseling, and part quiet spiritual warfare. Pain rarely announced itself directly, but it always showed up in the chair. Sarah knew something about hidden wounds. Her childhood had not been gentle. Her father's sin had fractured everything. Her mother, a nurse, had taken Sarah and fled the Midwest to escape the whispers that follow public shame. They landed in Primeville, Oregon, a new town. But healing takes more than distance. Marissa finished her appointment and paid using the card reader. Before leaving, they prayed together, hands lightly clasped. A brief blessing, simple, unforced. Sarah had learned long ago that prayer offered softly often lands deeper. Her next appointment was an hour away. She cleaned the salon, then moved to the kitchen. Dishes. Routine. The roast went into the crock pot, a quiet act of provision for a day that felt otherwise ordinary. She checked on Sissy again. Laptop open, videos playing. Normal. Her next client, Sandy, arrived 5 minutes early. Punctual and complicated. Sarah liked her, even if their beginning had been rocky. Southern, Sarah had once explained to Chuck, the bless your heart kind, or maybe just a hot mess. Either way, she was trying, and trying mattered. The session began. Conversation, snipping, blow-dryer humming, and then silence. Not gradual, instant. Everything stopped. The sudden absence of sound was almost louder than noise. Down the hall, Sissy's voice echoed. "My stupid internet just died. My computer shut off." Sarah waited. Power outages happened. They always came back. So she waited and waited. Finally, she reached for her phone. The screen was black. She pressed the power button. Again. Tapped the screen. "Siri?" Nothing. "Let's just give it a minute," she said to Sandy. A minute became 5. 5 became 25. Sarah stepped outside. The neighborhood was stirring. Neighbors emerging. Familiar faces, whose names escaped her in the moment. Chuck would have called them the Dinglefritz family. They exchanged waves, shrugs, palms raised, the universal gesture of confusion. Back inside, Sarah apologized to Sandy. A few final snips, a touch of hairspray, payment exchanged. Sandy left. Sarah moved quickly now. Samuel lived half a mile away. Their middle son, married to Jen. Little Chet was 2. She settled Sissy on the couch. "Stay inside. Don't answer the door." At Samuel's house, Jen welcomed her in. Concern showed immediately. She didn't need convincing long before she said it. "We're coming to your place tonight." Samuel was at the hardware store, or had been. Jen left him a note. "Come to Mom's. We're staying the night." They returned and waited. After nearly 40 minutes, Samuel arrived. His face carried the kind of confusion that comes when the world stops behaving normally. "Everything's down," he said. "Stores, registers, even the cars, they just stopped." At once. They prayed. Then they ate. Plans for tomorrow began forming, cautious, unfinished. But as conversation slowed, one question surfaced naturally, quietly. Where was Dad?
Day 2. Timberline Lodge. Oh, dark 30. Chuck was stirring in his sleep. Chuck awoke to Tov's wet nose pressing insistently against his cheek. Not playful. Urgent. Was it a nightmare? He couldn't say, but adrenaline surged through him as if someone had injected liquid energy straight into his veins. He was on his feet before the question even mattered. His eyes strained against the darkness as he moved toward the window. And then he saw it. An orange glow flickered across the parking lot. Fire. A bonfire. Someone was still out there. Chuck slowed his breathing, listened, watched. Chuck moved deliberately from window to window, gathering what information he could without exposing himself. Noise carries. Light betrays. Movement invites attention. Nothing rushed, nothing careless. After a full circuit, he whispered to himself, "All clear." Not safe, just clear. There's a difference. He returned to the chair he had staged earlier in the back corner. Preparation was survival. Improvisation was last resort. His dark blue Kelty backpack sat exactly where he had left it. Chuck liked dark colors, always had. Didn't matter the shade, just dark. He had no interest in looking like a surplus store commando. Camo and old Alice packs screamed a message: I am prepared. I have resources. I am worth robbing. Blending in was better than standing out. As someone once said in an old film, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Chuck had no intention of being the nail. He snapped a red chem light, low signature, low risk, just enough to work by without announcing his presence to the lodge. He laid the pack flat and unzipped the main compartment. Inside, 2 compression bags, 6 labeled Ziplocs. Order, discipline, clarity. He removed the smaller bags and redistributed their contents into external pockets for quick access. Accessibility beats storage when seconds matter. Fresh, darn tough wool socks went on next, then his fitted baseball cap. Small comforts mattered. Small routines grounded the mind. From the bottom of the 50-liter pack, he removed the gun belt. His Canik Combat Elite rested exactly where it should be, 3 spare magazines beside it. He wrapped the belt around his waist and cinched it tight. Mid-drop holster secured, magazines loaded, 70 rounds remaining. Not abundance, but provision. Enough. He paused for a moment. Not fear, just awareness. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow, he didn't finish it aloud, didn't need to. His stomach growled. He broke off a piece of an emergency ration bar and followed it with a measured sip of water. Fuel, not comfort. Outside, the world remained dark. Time was irrelevant now. Light and sound were the only clocks that mattered. Across the room, Tove watched him through half-open eyes, exhausted but loyal, still on duty. Chuck leaned back against the wall and made a soft clicking sound. Tove rose slowly and settled between his legs. Safe. Together. They closed their eyes again, not because the world was calm, but because strength must be conserved for when it isn't. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. As he put one hand on Tove, and in the quiet, Chuck offered one simple thought upward. Adonai, keep watch while we sleep. In Chapter 2, I talked about fear. Fear can control a man. Fear whispers that the situation is bigger than you. Fear tells you that you are alone. Fear says the outcome is already decided. But the Bible gives us the opposite of fear: faith. Faith does not mean the danger disappears. Faith means you remember who is in control. King David wrote, "When I am afraid, I put my trust in you." Psalms 56:3. Fear focuses on the storm. Faith focuses on the one who commands the storm. The same God who created the heavens and the earth knows your situation, sees your struggle, and walks beside you in the middle of it. Take 5 minutes today and talk with him. Fear shrinks when faith grows. Adonai is still in control. On the preparedness side of things, remember this: prepping is like training for a marathon. You don't wake up one day and run 26 miles. You build up to it, one step at a time. Just start with a few simple things. Personally, I like to buy items that serve two purposes: things I'll use in everyday life, but that will also serve me well if life gets hard. Take socks, for example. A couple years ago, I found darn tough socks. I absolutely love them. Comfortable, durable, and guaranteed for life, no questions asked. Or my backpack. I carry a Kelty Red Wing backpack. I like to travel, so buying a quality pack made sense. Now it pulls double duty as my carry-on and a dependable piece of gear. Another lesson I've learned over the years is this: don't stand out. If something ever does happen, the last thing you want is to look like G.I. Joe with tactical gear hanging off you. That kind of attention rarely works in your favor. Simple and practical beats flashy every time. The goal is to blend in, not draw eyes. You don't need to spend $1,000 overnight, but you do need to start, one step at a time. And over time, those small steps add up until you look back and realize you're far more prepared than you were yesterday.